All right, good morning, everybody. We're here on the April 20th, 2022 docket, and I'm trying to get Mr. Ben Gutierrez on board. There he is, Mr. Gutierrez. Good morning, sir. All right, can you hear me, sir?
Yes, Your Honor. Can you hear me?
All right, there you go. Good morning. I think we're going to be doing some default hearings, right, sir?
Correct, Your Honor.
All right, and I believe
Does he have two devices on?
yes, if you have another device on near you, could you please turn it off so we don't get any feedback. We get feedback, you get to, you skip and so forth, and we're not going to get it cleared.
I don't, Your Honor.
No,
Is that any
okay.
better?
Yes, sounds much better, crispier, and things like that. So, all right, we're going to start with the April 20th, 2022 docket. The reason we started like at 9:04, 9:05 is to see if any of the defendants would trickle in the waiting room, and apparently they did not. So I said, let's just get started. So, but we were ready for 9 o'clock. Oh, and we have an attorney coming in. Okay, all right, here we go. Mr. Gutierrez, let's see here. I believe you're here for the Portfolio Recovery Associates, LLC cases. And I have here, first of all, CL 180818D, Portfolio Recovery Associates, LLC versus Diana Gomez. Court will note that Diana Gomez is not in the waiting room. Therefore, court will take judicial notice of the entire file, and you may begin.
May it please the court, Benjamin Joseph Gutierrez on behalf of Portfolio Recovery. Your Honor, we're asking for damages in the amount of $2,224.68 on this account. Last payment was made on December 17th, 2014. This lawsuit was filed in February of 2018. Charge-off date was July 2nd, 2015, and we have the business records affidavit and the respective statements for court's consideration. Your Honor, we're asking for that amount along with the court costs.
Okay, Mr. Gutierrez, could you kindly get closer to the microphone or something? We're barely hearing you.
Okay. Is that any better, Your Honor?
Much better. Yes, sir. Much better. Much better. All right.
I was afraid of feedback. My apologies.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you can hear the feedback.
Yeah. No, but not. Go ahead. Okay. Anyway, are you through with this one, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, then court will go ahead and grant default judgment in favor of plaintiff. Court will grant plaintiff all relief requested hearing in open court or in this petition. Court will await a default judgment for signature. All right, CL 183034D, Portfolio Recovery Associates LLC versus Susana Arredondo. Court will note that Arredondo is not in the waiting room. Therefore, court will take judicial notice of the entire file, and you may proceed, sir.
Hey, please court, Benjamin Joseph Gutierrez on behalf of Portfolio Recovery. Your Honor, we're asking for damages in the amount of $1,122.44. This happens to do with a Walmart credit card that was extended to Mr. Arredondo for the court's consideration. We have the business records affidavit. The last payment on this account was made in May of 2016. The account was charged off in December 2016. And we have those reflective statements along with the business records affidavit. We're asking for those damages along with cost of court and post-judgment interest, Your Honor, be entered as a default.
All right, court will hereby grant default judgment in favor of plaintiff. Court will grant plaintiff all relief requested hearing in open court or in its petition. Court will await a default judgment for signature. Next one, CL 183177D, Portfolio Recovery Associates LLC versus Nelda Kennedy. Court will note that Nelda Kennedy is not in the waiting room. Therefore, court will take judicial notice of the entire file, and you may proceed.
May it please the court, Benjamin Joseph Gutierrez on behalf of Portfolio Recovery. Your Honor, we're asking for damages in the amount of $3,864.42. This happens to do with the World Financial Network Bank's Bell's credit card. This account was opened back in 2001. The last payment on the account was in September 2016. It was eventually charged off in April 2017. We're asking for those damages along with the cost of court and post-judgment interest be entered, Your Honor.
All right, court will hereby grant default judgment in favor of plaintiff. Court will grant plaintiff all relief requested hearing in open court or in its petition. Court will await a default judgment for signature. Next one, CL 183211D, Portfolio Recovery Associates LLC versus Monica Hernandez. Court will note that Monica Hernandez is not in the waiting room. Therefore, court will take judicial notice of the entire file, and you may proceed.
It please the court, Benjamin Joseph Gutierrez on behalf of Portfolio Recovery. Your Honor, this happens to do with the Citibank Home Depot credit card. The line of credit was extended to Ms. Hernandez back in April 2015. We're asking for damages in the amount of $3,634.92. The last payment on the account was in February 2016. The account was eventually charged off in October of that same year. And we're asking for that in addition to court costs and post-judgment interest, Your Honor.
All right, the court will hereby grant default judgment in favor of plaintiff. Court will grant plaintiff all relief requested hearing in open court or in its petition. Court will await a default judgment for signature. Next one, CL 183341D, Portfolio Recovery Associates LLC versus Laura Elizondo. Court will note that Laura Elizondo is not in the waiting room. Therefore, court takes judicial notice of the entire file, and you may proceed.
May it please the court, Benjamin Joseph Gutierrez on behalf of Portfolio Recovery. Your Honor, we're asking for damages in the amount of $1,770.80 plus cost of court and post-judgment interest. This account. My apologies, Your Honor. Something was mislaid. This happens to do with the Capital One bank credit card, and we're asking the court to take into account the business records affidavit and the statements for the consideration of the request.
All right, court will hereby grant default judgment in favor of plaintiff. Court will grant plaintiff all relief to hear in open court or in its petition. Court will await for a default judgment for signature. CL 183375D, Portfolio Recovery Associates LLC versus Gerardo Vela. Court will note that Gerardo Vela is not in the waiting room. Therefore, court will take judicial notice of the entire file, and you may proceed.
Benjamin Joseph Gutierrez on behalf of Portfolio Recovery. Your Honor, we're asking for damages in the amount of $6,868.75 plus cost of court and applicable post-judgment interest. This happens to do with a PayPal credit card. The line of credit was extended to the defendant back in May of 2016. Last payment on the account was in December 2016. The account was eventually closed out in July of the following year. And we're asking for judgment accordingly, Your Honor.
Court will hereby grant default judgment in favor of plaintiff. Plaintiff or relief request to hearing in open court or in its petition. Court will await a default judgment for signature. Next one, CL 183461D, Portfolio Recovery Associates LLC versus Edna Monsiváis. Court will note that Edna Monsiváis is not in the waiting room. Therefore, court will take judicial notice of the entire file, and you may proceed, sir.
Your Honor, may it please the court, Benjamin Joseph Gutierrez on behalf of Portfolio Recovery. We're asking for damages in the amount of $1,659.48 plus cost of court and applicable post-judgment interest.
Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, court will hereby grant default judgment in favor of plaintiff. Court will grant plaintiff all relief requested hearing in open court or in its petition. Court will await a default judgment for signature. Next one, CL 183781D, Portfolio Recovery Associates LLC versus Fernando Davila. Court will note that Davila is not in the waiting room. Therefore, court will take judicial notice of the entire file. You may proceed, sir.
May it please the court, Benjamin Joseph Gutierrez on behalf of Portfolio Recovery. Your Honor, we're asking for damages in the amount of $1,266.59. This happens to do with the Rooms to Go credit card. The last payment on this account was in October of 2016. The account was charged off in May of the following year. We're asking for those damages plus the cost of court and post-judgment interest, Your Honor.
Court will hereby grant default judgment in favor of plaintiff. Court will grant plaintiff all relief requested here in open court or in its petition. Court will await a default judgment for signature.
Number 9, there's a motion for continuance, so no action.
Okay, number 9 will be no action, which is CL 183952D, Portfolio Recovery Associates LLC versus Rene Mercado. There's a motion for continuance which got signed. Order got granted, it got signed. Therefore, no action on this one. Did you get that, Mr. Gutierrez?
Yes, Your Honor.
And then the next one I have here is CL 184184D, Portfolio Recovery Associates LLC versus Melissa Reyes. Court will note that Melissa Reyes is not in the waiting room. Therefore, court will take judicial notice of the entire file, and you may proceed.
May it please the court, Benjamin Joseph Gutierrez on behalf of Portfolio Recovery. Your Honor, we're asking for damages in the amount of $2,013.48. This happens to do with the Walmart Synchrony Bank credit card that was extended to the defendant back in July 2013. The last payment on the account was in June of 2015. The account was eventually charged off in January of the following year. And we're asking for those damages in addition to cost of court and applicable post-judgment interest, Your Honor.
Court will hereby grant default judgment in favor of plaintiff. Court will grant plaintiff all relief requested here in open court or in its petition. Court will await a default judgment for signature. All right, CL 184338D, Portfolio Recovery Associates LLC versus Juan M. Trevino. Court will note that Trevino is not in the waiting room. Therefore, court will take judicial notice of the entire file, and you may proceed, sir.
Benjamin Joseph Gutierrez on behalf of Portfolio Recovery. Your Honor, we're asking for damages in the amount of $1,387.90. This happens to do with the Citibank Best Buy credit card that was extended to the defendant back in October 2007. The last payment on the account was in November 2014. The account was eventually charged off in June of the following year. We're asking for those damages plus cost of court and applicable post-judgment interest, Your Honor.
Court will hereby grant default judgment in favor of plaintiff. Court will grant plaintiff all relief requested hearing in open court or in its petition. Court will await a default judgment for signature. Next one, CL 184382D, Portfolio Recovery Associates, LLC versus Lionel Mendoza. Court will note that Lionel Mendoza is not in the waiting room. Therefore, court takes judicial notice of the entire file, and you may proceed, sir.
May it please the court, Benjamin Joseph Gutierrez on behalf of Portfolio Recovery. Your Honor, we're asking for apologies. Stuff was mislabeled. We're asking for damages in the amount of $5,636.97 plus cost of court and applicable post-judgment interest. This happens to do with a credit card ending in 3975 that was extended to the defendant, Your Honor.
Court will hereby grant default judgment in favor of plaintiff. Court will grant plaintiff all relief requested here in open court or in its petition. Court will await a default judgment for signature. All right, the next one is order granting motion for continuance. There'll be no action. And this one is CL 1843-84D, Portfolio Recovery Associates, LLC versus Adriana Gomez. No action.
Understood, Your Honor.
All right, the next one, CL 1853-14D, Portfolio Recovery Associates, LLC versus Alejandra de la Rosa. Court will note that Alejandra de la Rosa is not in the waiting room. Therefore, court takes judicial notice of the entire file, and you may proceed.
May it please the court, Benjamin Joseph Gutierrez on behalf of Portfolio Recovery. Your Honor, we're asking for damages in the amount of $3,496.59. This happens to do with the Mohawk Synchrony Bank line of credit that was extended to the defendant back in July 2016. The last payment on the account was in May of 2017. The account was eventually charged off in December of that same year. We're asking for those damages plus the court cost and applicable post-judgment interest, Your Honor.
Court will hereby grant default judgment in favor of plaintiff. Court will grant plaintiff all relief requested here in open court or in its petition. Court will await a default judgment for signature. Next one, seal 1853-64D, Portfolio Recovery Associates, LLC versus Omar Torres. Court will note that Omar Torres is not in the waiting room. Therefore, court takes judicial notice of the entire file, and you may proceed.
May it please the court, Benjamin Joseph Gutierrez on behalf of Portfolio Recovery. Your Honor, we're asking for damages in the amount of $1,585. This happens to do with the Amazon Synchrony Bank line of credit that was extended to the defendant back in June of 2012. The account ends at 7358. The last payment on the account was in November of 2014, and it was eventually charged off in May of 2015, Your Honor. We're asking for those damages plus cost of court and applicable post-judgment interest.
Court will hereby grant default judgment in favor of plaintiff. Court will grant plaintiff all relief requested here in open court or in its petition. Court will await a default judgment for signature. Next one, seal 1858-82D, Portfolio Recovery Associates, LLC versus Rogelio Ontiveros. Court will note that Ontiveros is not in the waiting room. Therefore, court takes judicial notice of the entire file, and you may proceed, sir.
Benjamin Joseph Gutierrez on behalf of Portfolio Recovery. Your Honor, we're asking for damages in the amount of $1,745.51. This happens to do with the Citibank Goodyear line of credit ending at 0366 that was extended to the defendant back in December 2008. Last payment on the account was in May of 2015. The account was eventually charged off in December of the same year. We're asking for those damages plus cost of court and applicable post-judgment interest, Your Honor.
Court will hereby grant default judgment in favor of plaintiff. Court will grant plaintiff all relief requested here in open court or in its petition. Court will await a default judgment for signature. Next one, CL 186749D, Portfolio Recovery Associates LLC versus Tommaso Martinez. Court will note that Martinez is not in the waiting room. Therefore, court takes judicial notice of the entire file, and you may proceed, sir.
Benjamin Joseph Gutierrez on behalf of Portfolio Recovery. Your Honor, we're asking for damages in the amount of $2,987.60. This happens to do with a Capital One bank line of credit that was extended to the defendant back in June of 2015. Last payment on the account was in June of 2017. The account was eventually charged off in December of the following that same year. We're asking for those damages plus court cost and applicable post-judgment interest, Your Honor.
Court will hereby grant default judgment in favor of plaintiff. Court will grant plaintiff all relief requested here in open court or in his petition. Court will await a default judgment for signature. Now, the next one I have that there's an agreed judgment on file, and that was signed already. And that'll be CL 187210D, Portfolio Recovery Associates LLC versus Noelia Alvarado. And so no action. No action. There's an agreed judgment already. And I think the last one, Mr. Gutierrez, is CL 192815D, Jefferson Capital. Is that yours also?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Jefferson Capital Systems LLC versus Mary E. Cisneros. And court will note that Cisneros is not in the waiting room. Therefore, court takes judicial notice of the entire file. And you may proceed.
Your Honor, we're asking for damages in the amount of $992.05. This happens to do with the Bell's line of credit that was extended to the defendant back in September 2013. Last payment on the account was in March of 2016. The account was eventually charged off in September that same year. We're asking for those damages plus cost of court and applicable post-judgment interest, Your Honor.
Can I get that amount again, please?
Yeah, could we get the amount again, Mr. Gutierrez?
$992.05, Your Honor.
You got it? 992.05. Okay. All right, then court will hereby grant default judgment in favor of plaintiff. Court will grant plaintiff all relief here in open court or in his petition. Court will await a default judgment for signature. Is that it for right now, Mr. Gutierrez?
That is it for now, Your Honor. I have one hearing with you in about 30 minutes, but that's it.
Oh, okay. All right, very good. Thank you very much. Your excuse. We'll see you later. Okay, sir?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye. All right, let's see here. Let's see what we got here.
Gonzalez is trying to connect.
All right. I think Rick can call him now. Rick, can you call Mr. Ricardo Gutierrez?
Gonzalez.
I'm sorry, Gonzalez.
Yes, sir, Judge. Let me call right now.
Yeah. Yes, sir, Mr. Gonzalez. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right, good. Yes, sir. Good morning. We also have Mr. Munoz. We have Mr. Well, there's two Munozes and Patina, Alvin Patina, Marlo Munoz, and Miguel Munoz, along with Mr. Ricardo Gonzalez. And the next case here is CL 21-2491D, Cesar Wilson individually, and DBA CMP Fire and Safety Company versus Selvin Patina, DBA Patina Fire and Safety, Raymond Marlowe, Munoz, and Miguel Munoz. Yes, sir. What do we have here in this one, Mr. Gonzalez?
Your Honor, this is for damages only. The court has already found that my client is entitled to the relief he requested. So the court set it for today for damages, and that's what we're here for today.
Okay, now, but what was the relief that was initially?
The court granted a permanent injunction, which was executed in.
Okay. All right. Yeah, let me see when that was signed. Or I mean, I know this is.
It was signed, Judge, on October the 27th, 2021.
October 27, 2020?
21.
I'm sorry, 21.
Right, and that's at the hearing for today on damages. It's on page 3 of the order.
Okay, October 27, 2020, and that was a permanent
Right.
injunction.
Yeah, and I should clarify that, Judge. The injunction will expire on March 1st, 2024. And that's the reason behind that, Judge, is that there are some non-compete agreements that were signed by the defendants.
Right. I'm sorry, you said March 1st, what, 2020?
March 1st, 2024.
24, that's when it expires?
That's when the injunction will expire.
Okay. And so what kind of damages were you seeking here?
Well, we have attorney's fees, Judge. The court ordered the defendants to provide discovery responses that I served on them relating to accounts that my client believes were solicited by his former employees and who are now employees of Patina Fire and Safety. The court ordered him to file responses to that discovery, Judge, by November the 20. It's in the order, Judge. It was by November of 2021. We did not receive responses to that. Actually, it was by November 3rd, 2021. They were supposed to respond to plaintiff's discovery. And the court order provides that if they fail to do so, the court would strike the defendant's pleadings.
Oh, okay. I hadn't seen. I need to see that.
Yeah, it's on page 3, Judge.
Okay, one moment, sir. What was that again? Okay, we're trying to see if that injunction was ever signed. You have it there, you can show it to the court or something, or?
Yes, actually, if the court will go online, that's what I did.
He said March, I'm sorry. It was signed.
It was signed on
October 27, 2021?
2021. It was an injunction, an order setting hearing on damages, Judge.
Okay. All right, let's see what they're gonna print it out for me. I'm gonna get it any minute now.
Yeah. Yes, sir, Judge. It was signed on according to online. It's October 27th, 2021.
Because I don't know if we're supposed to be set for damages or for sanctions because they didn't respond to the discovery. That's what I'm trying to clear that up.
We want damages, Judge, for now. We may come back because they're, in my opinion, they're continuing to solicit business from my clients, some of my clients' accounts, and we have some information that he brought in yesterday that he had a State Farm Farmers Insurance group account that the owner sent him an email that he received from Mr. Patino.
Okay. Here is what I just injunction or saying. Just a moment. One moment. You're gonna disrupt my train of thought here. So if you start talking to you, I mess up and I have to start from ground zero again. I have here injunction and order setting hearing on damages, which was signed, it's a 3-pager, signed on October 27, 2021. So then it is, let's see, it is further order. Yeah, I have here, it is further ordered that this case should be set for damages hearing on the 20th April 2022. Okay, what were you gonna say, Mr. Munoz?
No,
Miguel
it's Mr. Patiño.
Who? Yeah, Patina, yes, sir.
Yeah, Your Honor, as far as that email regarding the State Farm, I think it was an oversight on our part because anybody that we did before in the past, it's an automatic email that they received the following year. I try to remove everybody that Mr. Wilson had mentioned. If the attorney can provide me the email address that was on there, I can remove it from our email list. It's an automatic email. We didn't send it out on purpose or trying to violate any type of order.
Mr. Gonzalez?
What the judge has said, we're only set for damages today. We can take that issue somewhere down the road.
Okay, but as far as damages, you want to put on some testimony?
Yes, I do. I'm going to be sworn in, Judge, on attorney's fees, and my client also will be sworn in on the damages part.
Okay, then, all right. And as far as Mr. Patina and Mr. Marlon Munoz and Miguel Munoz, you folks don't have attorneys?
I'm working on trying to get an attorney, Your Honor, but they're too expensive. And the one that I had was originally going to get, I've been contacting them and I haven't gotten an answer yet. But I do want representation.
Also,
right.
Your Honor, I'm like I said, I have already had to pay for a lawyer for another case. But I am, my father's coming down next week because he doesn't like the fact that I don't have representation. And he said if he can ask the court for a continuance or anything like that until my lawyer does get here. My father will be here next week. He's a retired veteran. He asked for that if for a small continuance until he gets down here to hire me an attorney for us and myself.
Okay. Anything to say, Mr. Miguel Munoz?
One more thing, Your Honor. I'm sorry that I did try and apply for indigent for the Hidalgo County, but because I have my father paid for another lawyer, that they are saying that I can afford another lawyer. So that's the other process problem I was having. But I do plan on getting an attorney. My father will be here next week, and I please ask the court that you allow me that because you're like you said, we don't have attorneys. I'm very confused.
Well, yes, but you're not entitled to an attorney on a civil case.
Okay.
Okay, you need to go look for one and hire one.
Yeah, that's what I was under.
Can we let Mr. Miguel Munoz say something? Can you want to say something, sir? You need to unmute. You all are related?
No, sir.
No, they're not related.
Oh,
Your
okay,
Honor.
you're not related. Okay.
I'm Puerto Rican. He's Mexican.
Okay. All right. Okay, Mr. Gonzalez. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. So the bottom line is there's a temporary injunction. I'm sorry, there's a permanent injunction in place, right?
Right, which is set to expire in 2024.
Right. And you're saying that you had sent some discovery on them and
Right.
that was not responded to. Is that correct?
That's correct, Judge.
Okay. And then number two, that they continue violating the.
Right, Judge. But that we don't have we didn't file a motion for contempt, Judge, yet on that issue. It was set for, like I said, damages today. So somewhere down the road, I'm sorry. Excuse me.
I wonder if I could just hear the whole thing all at once.
You can if you want to today, Judge.
Yeah. Give me another order setting here and this. We can send everybody else. That'll give him time to look for an attorney one more time. And if not, with or without attorneys, we'll proceed with the hearing next time. So why don't you submit me an order and order setting hearing date with notices to everybody involved here, and give me exactly what we're going to hear.
All right. Thank you, Judge.
Okay, let's do that. All right. So folks, you're going to be getting something in the mail, but at the same time, you got time to look for an attorney, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Garza. Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez. I appreciate you understanding.
Judge,
Okay.
is the court going to set it for next week or when?
We don't know yet. Could be like,
You know?
hopefully,
Okay.
hopefully in 30 days or less.
All right, thank you, Judge. Judge,
Okay.
it said, I don't know what the court's going to do. I don't want to come back, Judge. They didn't respond to discovery, Judge. We requested information. The discovery deals with the damages that my client claims. And
Okay.
it's involving specific accounts that I requested information on, Judge. It would show what they were paid for each of those accounts since they acquired them from my client.
Okay. And they didn't respond to it, right?
They didn't respond to it. And the court's
Okay.
order was that their answer would be struck. So, I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know what to do.
Okay. Well, that's still in place. Okay.
Okay. All right, Judge.
All right.
Thank you.
Let's see now. Wait a minute. Now we have Miguel Munoz raising his hand. Now he wants to talk to the court. After I asked him 10 times if he wanted to speak. Yes, sir, Mr. Munoz, you need to unmute. You give me his hand signals. You need to unmute. There you go. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This gentleman here is lying about those accounts, sir. I don't have an attorney. I guess I'll try to look for one, but I do
Okay.
not have money. And all those accounts that he is mentioning, he's lying. And further from last year to this year, I've been making a lot of police reports against this gentleman where he's stalking me.
Your Honor, Your Honor, I don't see what any of this has to do with.
With
Okay,
Mr.
Judge,
Wilson.
I have an
Right
objection,
now,
Judge.
today, it's the
All
same
right.
thing with this attorney or what have
Okay.
you.
This is something we're going to hear at the hearing. Okay, Mr. Munoz?
Yes, sir. You